Sorry about my video cutting off, so I'm gonna have to finish it with a different camera. But back to my point. Um, because plus size individuals, their flaws show on the outside of them, and people can see them. They get a chance to judge them off of that and say what they're not, or who they're not, or what they should be doing, or whether they're unhealthy or healthy or not. Right? They get to have that opinion about them because they can see their flaw, or they can see they're unhealthy, right? But what about for the ones who you can't see they're unhealthy? What about for the ones who are unhealthy in their mind, in their spirit, in their heart, physically unhealthy? There's some people walking around with AIDS, HIV, uh, other kinds of diseases, cancer, all kinds of things, and they can still be up here modeling and you know doing all the great things in life, but you wouldn't call them unhealthy because you can't see it, so it's not considered unhealthy, right? And this is what society will have you to believe. This is what social media and the news and TV and advertising will have you to believe, that if you look a certain way, if you have a small waist and big titties and a big booty and long hair, whether it's yours or not, or whatever the case you want to call it, lots of makeup. If you look like that and you can pose really nice, and you can not disclose what you're unhealthy and where your unhealthiness is, you're automatically healthy, right? And all of these things, and I say this to come back around to my main point, is that all of these things has really gotten into the minds of our people, um, to be so unaware of what's real, what reality is, not the illusions that we're given, right? Um, but in reality, everybody is trying to, or wants to learn, grow, and go to heaven, if you will, or ascend, or be better, look better, feel better, talk better, have better. Everyone's on that journey. You know what I'm saying? And there's no way for you to compare who you are or what you look like to someone else. Same within a marriage. There is nothing that you can do, because a man and a woman are two different creatures, to compare the sacrifices that we're going to make in a marriage. The same way you can't compare someone who is slim or skinny or big or any of that. You can't compare that. And you can't compare, how much you do, in a marriage, or as a father, or as a mother. You can't compare those things, because there is no comparison. Everyone is going to make different sacrifices for different things, and they're going to do different things. And as long as what you guys are doing gets y'all to the finish line of being great people and raising great people, or building a nation of great people who then can build nations of more great people, then that is the goal. That is the prize. We've gotten so much into talk about who's doing more, who's doing less, and who's bringing what to the table, and who's doing what. How can you compare that? How can you even see the two? How can you even line them up? There's no comparison. It's like uh, 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 the bark of a tree as opposed to a bamboo tree. You know what I mean? They're two different things. There's no comparison. There's no comparison. But you know what? They provide different things for different reasons. And they're both here, even though they're different types of trees, they're both here to do different things. Does one sacrifice more than the other? Does one provide more than the other one does? No. They're both here to add oxygen and water to the earth. They're both here to help the world ascend and be balanced. Same with mothers and fathers or husband and wives. It's all about a balance. It's all about the yin and the yang. The yin does not do what the yang do, but together they make a full circle. So there's no comparison. And I think if we start to look at situations in that way, then the controversy will be over about who's better, who's less worth it, or who's more worth it, or who's doing what, or who's not doing what. It will be clear. It will be very much clear that there is no comparison. It'll be very much clear that there is no way to measure the amounts that either of you are doing. You guys are both here to show love and be there and help nurture this relationship, this partnership, this parenthood, this one another. Because you know what else I've learned? I've also learned that in a marriage, you grow. You grow and that other person grows. Because there's certain things that I did not know was inside of me, or that I would feel, or emotions that I would feel not being in a marriage. But then when I got married and I had kids, there were certain emotions that had been tapped into that I didn't even know was there, that I then had to deal with so I could grow and be a better person, and still growing to be a better person. So I could be better to teach my children, so I could be better to love my husband, so I could be better to be a better me. Sometimes you can surface those things and make things look good while I still be there. I remember seeing an interview one day where Will Smith said at the red table, like, we were all unhealthy and I had a headache, and my everything was messing with my stomach, and I wasn't going to the bathroom correctly, but I looked fit. I looked the fittest I ever looked. I looked the best I ever looked for a movie. But his insides and what was really going on with him, he was really unhealthy, just trying to get to that place. But he looked great, but he felt horrible. There's no comparison. Because you know what? There's some who may not look the best on the outside, but you know what? They are happy. They are loving. They don't have headaches. They ain't having pain in their body, and they ain't having, all kinds of issues. But you would look at them and say, oh, well, look how they look. They got to be unhealthy or whatever. Then you look at another person, oh, they are healthy. You can't tell that. You can look at a marriage and be like, oh, well, they're happy, right? But you can look at another marriage and be like, oh, well, look at them. Look what they go through. They're not happy. How can you tell that? Same for husband and wife. How can you compare the two? Oh, I'm doing more than you. No, you do more. Oh, no, I'm doing more than you. How can you compare? You're not here every second of the day of what I do. I'm not there every second of the day of what you do. There's no comparison. How much are you growing? How much are you living? How much are you laughing? How much are you loving? That's what really matters. That's the truth of it all. How are you dealing with your own mental health? How are you dealing with your own habits? How are you dealing with helping yourself grow? How are you dealing with your negative thought patterns? How are you dealing with your impulses for things? How are you dealing with that? Is there some ways you are disciplined and you can do great in, and then there are other ways where you don't do great? But there are ways that you're not disciplined what you eat or going to the gym and things like that. But you are disciplined in making sure that you uphold certain things, you do certain things, you're productive, you're on time, you have morals, and there are things that you do that keep things going. That if you had to do it, you would fall short on. But I got your back, or you got my back. There's no comparison. And no one should be comparing what a woman does to what a man does. There's two different creatures, two different jobs. So I want to end this with this. I want to say that As soon as we as people as a whole, whether man, woman, wife, husband, sister, cousin, brother, mother, stop comparing or stop trying to find the flaws in other people, the sooner we can better share and feel the love for those other people and yourself. Yourself first. Because that's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to be. We got to find the love and understanding and the compassion. Because that's what it's all about. That's what's really going to get us to the next level as a whole. Thank you for listening. And I'll see you guys on the next video.